Looks like they kind of make up their own rules. They found some ways to get around the system, and it's a shame that they're cheating people. They're really cheating people.
Now at 5, News 10 investigates one town's ticket rules, its costs, and confusion. Our lead investigator breaks down tricky tickets in 3 parts tonight. A WIS investigation has uncovered a ticket writing scheme in a Midlands county, and it has the state's attorney general wanting to take a closer look. The excessive ticket writing is happening in Clarendon County in the town of Turbeville, and it's been going on for a decade. WIS lead investigator Jody Barr saw this going down firsthand. Jody, I've been amazed at the people who have called today, sent us messages through Facebook, emails, all of them who did call saying, I was one of those people.
Yeah, and you know, it starts from this. When you get a ticket in South Carolina, usually it looks like this. It's issued on a blue ticket. Everybody has likely seen that. But in Turbeville, you get a ticket, and it looks like this. It is printed out from a police officer's car on site. It's a $400 ticket. But instead of charging speeders under the state law, Turbeville's made up its own law to punish speeders. Labor Day is one of the busiest days in Turbeville. It's a small town with one stoplight on Highway 378 between I-95 and Myrtle Beach, and its police force doesn't tolerate speeding.
A speeding ticket for doing 53 and a 35. $388.
Margie Wirinja knows all about Turbeville's speeding ordinance.
He said that it wouldn't go on my license, that there wouldn't be any penalty in that regard.
She got one of their tickets in June.
I kind of expected maybe 150 or 120, something like that, but 388 just blew my mind.
The officer told her it wasn't as bad as it sounded. If she paid the fine, she wouldn't lose any points. She called town clerk Deborah Welch, and the town cut her a break.
She reduced it to 255.
Did it feel like a break?
Well, I was glad it wasn't 388.
We first met Margie nearly 2 months ago, started talking with her about speeding tickets. Then she showed hers to us. The charge says traffic ordinance, and where the state law code should be was the town's ordinance number 1322. On Labor Day, we went to Turbeville to see what was going on. As soon as we got into town, we saw the chief pull this van with 4 men inside. When the chief let the men go, we flagged them down. HUDSON Marquez was driving. He's charged with speeding and no driver's license. He printed them in the car?
He printed. He has a little computer. He's write it and print the ticket for me.
The officer didn't arrest Marquez for driving without a license. Instead, Chief David Jones made Marquez an offer.
He asked me for 488 so they can let me go.
So it was either you pay the money or you go to jail?
I go to jail, yep.
Marquez got a receipt for the bond he posted with the chief. At the end, though, you decided either, you comply, pay the ticket, or you go to jail.
Yeah, I paid the ticket. I don't want to go to jail because I'm working, so I just pay him cash.
As soon as we left, Marquez drove back into town. The chief had already stopped another car. He had 2 women stopped, one from New York State, the other from Georgia. The chief gave both women $288 speeding tickets, again written under the town's speeding ordinance. Julia Lucas's ticket was for 48 and a 35. That ticket he wrote you, anything suspicious to you about that?
Yeah, it doesn't look like a normal ticket. He told me that he didn't charge me for speeding, he charged me for a traffic ordinance because if he charged me for speeding, they would take 4 points off of my license in New York.
So there are 0 points with this ticket?
Yeah.
As soon as I rounded that curve right down there, he threw on his lights and I pulled over and he said I was going 50 and a 35.
Danny Long is from Greenville. He says he's never seen a ticket like this before, especially one, he says, that did not impact his license.
Looks like they kind of make up their own rules. They found some ways to get around the system, and it's a shame that they're cheating people. They're really cheating people out of money here. That's ridiculous.
We were in town for a little more than 2 hours and watched the chief write ticket after ticket. Everyone was written under the town's own speeding law. You can tell that because of the white piece of paper in the chief's hand. All but one driver we saw the chief stop was from out of state, and no one he stopped lived in Turbeville. This Jeep's owner is from Miami. He ended up with one of the $388 tickets.
I've never seen a citation printed out of a computer printer.
Mike DION says he felt the chief was almost talking him into accepting the municipal ordinance ticket.
He was doing me a favor by making it a traffic ordinance versus a speeding ticket. He told me I have to appear in court or I could just mail the check in.
Around noon, the chief took a break and was stopped talking to a friend in a parking lot. That's when we decided to ask him about those tickets and the cash bond he accepted during a traffic stop.
Chief, can we have a word with you? We want to talk to you about these municipal tickets you've been writing. Excuse me, sir. Did you take a cash bond this morning from a Hispanic male?
Maybe it's closed.
Chief, we'd like to talk to you about these municipal tickets you guys are writing out here. Any comment from you?
Well, the court administration of the state of South
We
Carolina.
did.
Nothing about this felt right.
Margie Warinja says she had to use a loan to pay her $255 fine.
But if you had an opportunity to sit down with the people in power in the town of Turbeville, what would you tell them in regards to these tickets and the financial burden that's coming with these fines?
I don't know. It doesn't, maybe they should have a bake sale or something. But I don't feel like it's a good way for people to find out about South Carolina.
Well, the drivers we were able to flag down all described Turbeville as the classic speed trap. But the question now, is the town allowed by law to do what it's doing with this speeding ordinance? We'll show you what one legal expert says, and you'll hear directly from Turbeville's police chief coming up at 5:30.
And that is the question, is can they legally do this? Because truthfully, if somebody is speeding, and granted it is a speed trap, I mean it goes down a couple times around that one corner, so you as the citizen, the driver, have to be responsible to slow when the speed limit drops. But the system, the way they're doing it, that's the big question mark.
And that's the problem here. State law says this is what we're going to do. You're going to get this ticket, this will be the fine and the points penalty assessed. Turbeville has, though, we'll take the point penalty away, and the fines are far above what you would get if you were issued this under the state code by a trooper or even an officer here in the city of Columbia.
And that whole points thing, you and I are going to get into a deeper conversation about that at 6. We learned some interesting things on how that works.
It is a ruse.
Yes, interesting. All right, Jody Barr, thank you so much. Jody will join us again during the 5:30 half hour. Thanks, Jody.